So welcome to Coffee with the Mayor. And today we have not only the mayor, it's Coffee with the Mayor and the city manager, Chris Escobedo. So we're here to answer questions. We've invited a lot of our students, everyone from our high schools to our college to our CSU, for our alumni from, and we'll talk about this later, from our Civic Academy. And we're here to answer questions. We want to keep you up to date with what's going on in Palm Desert, give you a chance to ask questions. So when our community's engaged, we're a better community. So please ask questions, and we hope we give you the information that you want and that's important to you. And just so we touch on this now, so I don't forget, our next Coffee with the Mayor is on Wednesday, September 23rd at 9 a.m. at the McCallum, and that's live. This is the first one we've ever done in this format, in this webinar format. And we're trying this to make sure that we can reach out to everyone, give everyone an opportunity to be involved, to be engaged, to be part of the process. So hopefully this goes well, and we appreciate all your feedback, and we'll tell you all the ways that you can give us feedback and be engaged at the city. So what should we start with here? Well, how about it says, and we have a show flow, so hang in here with us. It says, mayor and city managers share their history with Palm Desert. So let's turn to the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor, and it's good to be here in this format with you. And good morning, Palm Desert. I'm Chris Escobedo, as the mayor mentioned, and I joined Palm Desert 3 years ago as the assistant city manager and now serve in this role as Palm Desert city manager. Prior to Palm Desert, I worked throughout the region in several cities, and then it's a good fortune to be here in Palm Desert because it's really a special place where resident quality of life is highly valued, but also the city always has attention to the region. So thank you.
Okay, and I've lived in the Valley almost 50 years now, and most of the time in Palm Desert. I've served the city in an official capacity since 2010. I've always been big on volunteering, so been involved in the high schools and in the schools as my 5 children went through our Palm Desert schools and all graduated from Palm Desert High School. I cherish the quality of living we have in Palm Desert. It seems that we have a nice, healthy respect for our history, and we are always open to the future. And I like to say that our values are constant, our vision evolves. And I think that works for us in so many ways. So I can talk about what we do. As mayor, I'm one of 5 votes. And really, we're all equal in what we do. The mayor simply has a position of running meetings, doing things like this, but we are all equal colleagues in our roles in city council. We need to work with the city manager. And just to answer this question, there are only 2 people at the city that answer directly to the city council, and that's the city manager and the city attorney. So that's the people that we talk to, that we deal with. And our city manager, though, is responsible for the entirety of the city. So why don't you tell about what you do?
Sure. So I think the mayor is correct. Mayor and council set the vision and policy, and my job is to turn their vision into reality. Additionally, as they have individual questions, we look at that individually and collectively to make sure that vision is synthesized, and that through me, my job is to make sure that comes to fruition through running with the departments and ensuring the operations are handled.
So let's talk about some of the projects that are ongoing, and I'm sure everybody's noticed El Paseo. We've heard a lot about it, and what's been surprising to me, I know that progress is messy sometimes, and it's a couple things. It's change, which is sometimes difficult for us as human beings, but it disrupts our daily life in some ways. But I've been amazed at how well it's gone on El Paseo. And the other thing that's been really wonderful and affirming is how many positive comments I've received about the process and how well the city has done, how well the team has done as informing all the merchants, informing our community, and how well, I think it's Vance Construction, do I have the name correctly?
Mm-hmm.
What a great job they've done at keeping the flow of traffic and how quickly and efficiently they've done everything they've done. I've heard great things. One of the things I've heard a lot of is, wow, I didn't realize how much parking is behind the shops on El Paseo. Because before, people were just used to parking on the street. Well, now they've discovered all the other parking that is right behind all of the boutiques, all of the retailers, all of those commercial entities on El Paseo. So that's been one of the good things that's come out of it, is people have discovered how much parking we have.
Yes. And what's nice is that it's going really great. And every time we get feedback on, can you do this different? The team is really quick to respond to the business owners, adapt to different changes in the field. So that's also I've been very thankful to the team of just going above and beyond and being responsive to the businesses and the residents.
And one of the people, and I'll just give you one incident, she has a boutique on El Paseo, and as they were working, they got water on her window. She ran out to clean it up, and they came over to her. They said, no, don't do that. We're here to clean that up. So that is such an illustration of the attitude and the progress that's being made and how it's being done. I think informing our community back in, I believe it was April of 2024 is when everyone first knew we were going to do this. So we had time to prepare and time to make sure that everybody was in as well prepared as possible. And I think we've seen great results.
Absolutely.
So what are some other projects going on?
So it's that there's several projects that have been planned, and I think it's that, as we're seeing throughout Paseo, that flawless execution that the team is focused on. So while it takes some time to design and plan, it's all about ensuring that flawless execution. Right now, as you're aware, we have Fire Station 102 that's coming online, the city's fourth fire station in one of the busiest areas of the city. If you go there now, you can see it's gone vertical as of last week, and the site is fully prepped, and that station will come online spring of next year.
Wow.
So it's great to see that project is also moving forward.
Well, once I'm going to drive by, I want to see it, and I encourage you all to drive by and see it, because that is progress. That's exciting.
We also have Dave Irwin Park that the council recently blessed to move forward. So another good project where it's in concept phase. It's going to plan review, and the team is working through all the nuances of park space, turf identification, with the goal of also getting that park up and running by the end of 2027.
If I remember right, that's more of a passive park. And would you explain when we talk about a passive park, what that means?
So both passive and community parks are more for gentle recreation, focus on open space. There will be some playground equipment there, but so it maintains that community feel and also that enjoyment of recreation. That's in contrast to more of a regional sports park. Regional sports parks typically are more intensive. You have the higher lights, soccer fields, baseball fields, more intensive uses.
Like what we have right here at Civic Center Park, which is an amazing park, and I always encourage everyone to use the parks. It's one of those great community amenities that brings people together, gives you a chance to go out, have healthy activities. It's a great place I know I go out and walk in the morning, and it's a wonderful place to be. And it's also great to watch all the families and the children come out and enjoy our parks.
And the great thing about what's going on is, like, almost in every single category of service, public safety, recreation, we have something going on. So the library, we currently are housed across the street here, but right now the council has authorized the construction of a new library facility that will sit right here adjacent to the park at Civic Center campus. That library is in design, and also will be built by the end of 2027, with it becoming operational in January of 2028.
And I think that the park is such a natural place for the library because it brings the outside in. And I love to see where we're going to go with that. I think that libraries being redefined, and certainly we hear people talk about the library. No one looks at books anymore. Well, first of all, that's just not accurate. But it's become so much more. It's become a community center, and that's our focus there. Mm-hmm. We'll have a vet center to take care of our veterans' needs, and we'll make sure that we have a lot of stimulating type of multimodality learning opportunities for all of our young people, and actually for everybody, because we're a diverse community. And one of the things that's so great about Palm Desert, I always think, is that we have something for everybody. Mm-hmm. And our library will absolutely embody that philosophy. So what else do we have? Let's talk about the Civic Academy.
Perfect.
And you know what? I'm going to call Rylan Penta is here with us, and I wonder if you would talk a little bit about the Civic Academy.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rylan Penta. I'm a staff member here at City Hall, and I do civic engagement, outreach, things of that nature. And we have a program called the Civic Academy, and I highly recommend you consider it. You can search it on our website. It's a 5-session course, Mondays in October and the first Monday of November. You get free dinner, and you get the experience of learning about our city from the staff members, the people passionate about the things they do, whether that's parks, zoning, public safety. You really get a sense of the efforts here at City Hall, and you really get to ask your questions and get a deeper connection to your community. We have applications live on our website. They close on September 12th. So please consider it. It's a great experience, and especially for students or those that are trying to get a foothold in maybe a career path in city government. It's a great opportunity.
And anytime, and I know I've said this before, anytime our community members are engaged and understand better how the city works, we become a better city, and it's a better community. I've never heard any of your alumni who've gone through this who said, gee, I wish I hadn't done that. They all love it. And all of the dinners are from our local restaurateurs.
Yes.
So they're all very Palm Desert. And it's an opportunity to get a feel for that. What else could we talk about?
Well, Mayor, I have a few resident questions.
Okay.
So first one came in, says, as someone who's lived here for 30 years, I've seen Palm Desert grow a lot. What are top priorities in keeping the city strong in the coming years?
Well, I think we've answered some of that about the library and the fire station. I think this might be a good time to touch on Measure G. That was the tax initiative that was on the ballot, and it's the 1-cent sales tax. And we recognize with the number of new residents in the northern part of our city, around the university and in that area. And we have a multiplier we use. It's certainly not perfect, especially since we say it's 2.3 people. So that'll tell you it's not perfect per residence. So we're looking really, when we look at some of these places, it's more than 6,000 new residents. We could be looking at 20,000 new people. So we know that we need new infrastructure. We need that new fire station. We need more public safety. We need parks. We need roads. We need that beautiful landscaping that Palm Desert represents. And that all cost money. So we put that 1-cent sales tax initiative, and it passed really strongly. The people understand it, and it's great when your community members understand the needs of your community and support it. And that'll help us generate, we estimate, somewhere between $20 and $25 million a year to pay for those things. And, do you know off the top of your head what the cost of the fire station is?
The fire station itself is roughly $20 million.
So that gives you an idea of what the costs are. And I was in a meeting yesterday where we talked about the increase in costs in construction. And in just the 5 years, the increase in cost for construction has gone up 150%. So we're dealing with that, and we have to make sure we maintain the roads like we do. So that's one of those things that we needed to do. We needed to get out in front. It's never fun, quite frankly, to ask for a tax increase. But when you understand how important it is to your quality of living, it makes sense. So we went ahead and did it. And again, our community understood and supported it. So we'll be able to have those parks for our families, for all of our visitors, for our residents, and we're working hard on that.
And Mayor, I'd add two more items to that. So Measure G, a large part of it too was to help public safety. And with that, Measure G was allow the city to hire 6 additional police officers,
Right.
3 of which are filled, the rest of the 3 are coming. But also, as we look at the future of the city, the economic development portfolio of the city is key as we look to redevelop the mall, stimulate more business activity, and ultimately land more retail attraction.
Right. And you brought up the mall, and I think that's really important. There's always questions about the mall. And I look at it, is it 72 acres?
Roughly.
So it's, I look at it, and this is my lens, it's 72 acres of opportunity. And you want to talk about some of what's going on there?
Certainly. So a couple years ago, the city acquired the former Sears piece with the goal of redeveloping it to generate more retail uses there at the mall. But right now, we're working with the mall owner to vision what that project looks like, and then identify key users, key retailers to help stimulate growth, including both residential and retail components. So a key portion of the city, a lot of time spent on that, but as we move forward, we'll be getting input from the public as to what they want to see at the mall.
So lots of opportunity, and it's when you hear about actually building more residential over there, it's a perfect place for it, and it makes perfect sense. It's in a transportation corridor, so people will be able to move around. They can get to education, employment, and recreation from that area. It's really an important center in our city, and I think we're really making the most of what's been presented to us. What else do we, well, let's talk about the rehab on some of our fire stations. I think that's important as well. The fire station on Portola and Country Club, what can you share about that?
So also the one on Town Center Way, which is right next to the mall. So those 2 fire stations are some of the busiest stations in the county system. And as we build the new 4th fire station, we're currently designing the rehab of the 2 existing fire stations. So as we look at the next 2 years, once fire station 1 and 2 comes online, both of those fire stations will be under renovation. So they're modern, brand new, beautiful facilities. And then we'll work to rotate the staff there so that they have accommodations in a firehouse, so that as we rehabilitate those 2 sites, we don't disrupt service levels.
And there's some of the kind of modernizing, as simple as when we get an earthquakes warning, and we do now get them, I've gotten them on my phone, what happens is immediately the doors will go up on fire stations, because if the doors don't go up and your vehicles, your emergency vehicles are inside with the doors down, they're no help to us. So there's things like that, very simple things, but it also is making sure that the living quarters are up to date, and we can make sure that those people who run to the danger that we run from have the best living conditions possible and operating conditions. So more questions?
Sure thing.
Okay.
So a resident asked, if we see debris or hazards in the road, should we call the city or the sheriff's office?
I think the city first.
Absolutely. So you can call our hotlines, and we're happy to make the numbers available after today. There's also Palm Desert In Touch app is a great resource for anybody to use. Once you log it in there, we're instantly notified of the matter, and we'll attend to it.
So I'm just going to hold this up. I don't know how effective this is being held up, but go on. I have this app on my phone, and when I see anything from graffiti to something in the middle of the road, a tree goes down, and it happens. We saw that yesterday, I think. But whatever it is, as soon as you log that in, the location of the issue. The city will follow up, tell you they've received it, and then they'll also tell you when they've resolved the issue. So we ask you to use those. Please put that on your phone because you help us do a better job when you report the issues. So it's PalmDesert.gov/intouch. But if you spend a little time on our website and you'll find so many ways to participate and for us to hear your voice. Please spend some time, cruise around that website. We've done a lot of work on it to make it more user-friendly, and you'll find numerous ways to get in touch with us and let us know what you're seeing, what you're thinking, and maybe ideas you have for the future. You know, one of the most important things we do at the city is listen. And we thank you for your ideas and your observations, and we get better for it. So what else?
Right. Another person asked, what's the status of short-term rentals? Is there a cap coming on the number of STRs that are allowed in Palm Desert?
No, I don't think we don't have a cap. We've never put a number, and it would be hard to put a number because as we're growing, how do we know what that is? But what we have done is find areas where it'll work and where it doesn't work. And when we talk about the behind gates in a gated community, if they want to have short-term rentals, that's their decision. But we have other areas where we say, no, that's not allowed. We have a lot of requirements on STRs. And do you want to speak to some of that?
Yeah, so I think priority number one is to make sure that you have a good host there, a good property management company or owner who's responsive to any concerns or complaints that come about from the neighborhood. So overnight, we do have a code enforcement officer who is always on patrol to ensure that quality of life is maintained for the residents. But the rules are clear, and what we encourage is if there's issues, let us know, as well as we will ensure that we're providing that information and guidance to both sides as it comes about.
And that's another thing you'll find on the website is where you should contact somebody if you have any thoughts or issues with an STR. And please contact us because otherwise we can't do anything about it. And we want to uphold the highest quality of living for everyone in Palm Desert.
All right, this one came in from a student. If you could look 10 years down the road, what is your vision for Palm Desert?
I love that student. Let me just say that because I always say when I'm making a decision, I use that expression, what does it look like in 10 years? Because it's fine to think about, okay, today I want, or I think this will work, but what does it look like in 10 years? And when we make decisions, we really have to think down the road. Otherwise, we play something I like to call government whack-a-mole. And if we don't pay attention to look through the big, broad lens and as far out as possible, then we're fixing the problems. And it's I think this expression started back in the 30s, the unintended consequences of a decision. So in 10 years, I'm hoping that we see the train coming through, and I just had some meetings on that, and I think it's so critically important that we have that. I see the train probably not built out, but on its way. I see a vibrant CSU PD over off of Cook, Frank Sinatra. And I see a vibrant area in that north end, and we see it's beginning already, as we talked about, the fire stations, all the residential building. And again, just further fulfilling the something for everybody in Palm Desert. And yes, we're the educational hub for the valley. We know that. And we know, I like to say that education is the salve that heals all of society's wounds. And we have to make sure we have quality, accessible education. And Palm Desert has worked for decades to achieve that. So those decisions made multiple decades ago kind of answer the question, we have to look out 10 years. Well, sometimes we have to look further than that to see the results of those decisions. And we're seeing many of them now. You have any thoughts?
This is a great example of exactly the mayor and council's vision cast it out there with my role of carrying it, making it into reality. So as we've seen, visions of fire stations and safety, now we're at the time of bringing that to fruition. As we look forward, I also think that some of the fundamentals of Palm Desert won't change from the standpoint of being the center of commerce and having a vibrant business space. Safety is extremely key for any growing community. Safety I see as a fundamental that maintains, as well as the city's strong record of financial prudence and success.
So I love that, how that student's thinking. Please, take the Civic Academy.
Regarding economic development, is the city doing anything to help attract new businesses or to keep the community vibrant for both locals and visitors?
That effort there is no ending, there is no beginning. It is ongoing. You have to always remain relevant. And to remain relevant, we have to make sure that we are always working to attract new, interesting merchants. And at the same time, we work really hard to develop within our community new merchants. Mm-hmm. We like the one-off, we like the unique offerings that Palm Desert has. So, with the we're not calling it the iHub anymore. What do we call it now?
The ERC.
ERC, which stands for
Entrepreneurial Resource Center.
Thank you. I couldn't have gotten that. So that's right across from the CSU, and that's to develop new merchants, new ideas, new entrepreneurs who will bring new and exciting things to our city that will be unique offerings. So we're always working on that.
I think always is the word. And this is an exciting area where if there's ideas out there, we've, as of late, have been reaching out to hear firsthand from, is it something different in marketing? Is it something different in social media, business incubation? So to that person who's asking that question, if there's ideas, I'd invite them to reach out to us, hear from them, so that we're making sure that we're responding to the real-time changes we're seeing in the market.
And whenever somebody's traveling, if you see something that you think this works for Palm Desert, let us know about it, because we can go pursue it. We can look at something, either if it's a small chain, we're interested, but maybe it's something we can develop within the community. So let us know. We want to remain relevant, and we have great vision for the future. So please be part of that and let us know what you see.
Perfect. And we had several questions around pedestrian use and bike use, specifically El Paseo and school zones. Is there anything new coming that way?
Boy, is there. Our active transportation plan, and I know I have a meeting September 5th, I just made it yesterday, with the city, where we are really looking at how we can make it safer. And as few we're working with Vision Zero, which is actually a national effort. And we have really taken it down to a very granular level in Palm Desert. Vision Zero is to make sure there are no more fatalities for pedestrians, for bicyclists. And of course, we pay real attention in our school zones, because it's so important. And there's so many, we want people walking to school. We want them to feel safe. So we are trying to create an environment through our traffic patterns and through every safety measure we can implement, so that people will feel safe.
And through Vision Zero, it identified a series of improvements in the city that would enhance walkability, safety for cyclists, and then also added infrastructure and access in the school zone. So there's a list about, I think, just over 30 different projects citywide that we're in the process of applying for grant funds for. So if successful, we'll be able to use those grant funds to expedite the projects, but also those projects will be a part of future capital improvement discussions for the city council. Just see if you want to go ahead with certain items of, increasing sidewalk space or access for different areas of the city.
And so much of what we do, safety is always first. That's foundational to our building, to what we look at. It's got to be safe, and we are looking at that. Yes.
Next question. There's been a lot of street work across the valley. How as a city do you balance what's being done, and have you received feedback about street projects in this area in Palm Desert?
You know, we touched a little bit on that earlier. Yes, we've gotten feedback, and it's been remarkably positive. And I know sometimes it's change, and it will create a detour for us. In fact, this morning I had 2 detours on the way, but you know what? I got here, and I got here safely. So we have to just pay attention and always remember when we're doing these things, there's something, and I'm going to get a little wonky, called the PCI, and it's the Pavement Condition Index. And every city has to report out. We take tremendous pride in Palm Desert that we keep ours very high. And our streets are almost like a ship. Mm-hmm. You start painting at one end, and when you get to the end, you start over. Well, that's the same with our streets. We pave, sometimes we have to grind them up, sometimes we just slurry seal, whatever the need is. But we have to make sure we maintain a very high pavement condition index. And I'll bet there are people who might be listening who they travel to other cities and all of a sudden they realize, oh my gosh, these streets are terrible. Or at least I do. But again, that's my wonky pavement thinking. And I notice how good our streets are. So we really have to maintain them. It's important that we do for safety reasons, for quality reasons. There are a number of reasons. And if you allow a street to fall into a state of disrepair, it costs more to repair it than if we stay on a regular maintenance level.
We're increasing our coordination with neighboring cities and utilities. So I know the focus is always to do as much construction during the summer months because of the less traffic. That's the goal. But additionally, like we see in El Paseo, anytime there's a road project, our goal is to make sure businesses are notified, residents, as well as those who are traversing through the city have that information so they can detour and know where to turn left or right versus, whatnot.
Well, there's been a couple little challenges, but as community members, we have our role to play as well. It's not always everyone else. What are they doing? So remember, can you take a few extra moments? Can you leave a few minutes early? Because right now there is a lot of construction going on. There is no question about it. So please take a moment so that you're not rushing. And you can take the cautionary steps you need to take to make sure you get where you need to go and you get there safely.
Another question came in from a local real estate agent. Are there any plans in the near future to continue undergrounding power lines in Palm Desert?
That is always a topic. And please understand that I know because I live in an older area of Palm Desert, so I have those wires. And I understand that they're not a great asset. There's been so much going on about the undergrounding, and it's an extremely expensive proposition. Now, if you'll notice, all of our new, actually, since the city's incorporated, the new building, everything's been undergrounded. But there are those older wires. Sacramento is cognizant of it. Our utilities are. This is a bigger issue than just the city, but we're working with everybody to find solutions because they do need to be undergrounded. It's in the best interest of the city. It's a big, big effort. Mm-hmm. So we're doing our best, and I know there's been some talk in Sacramento, which we listen to, and we kind of put it through our filter and see how that impacts us. Hopefully we'll be able to get all of it undergrounded. And we are working on it. We've seen we've heard a lot of discussion again from Sacramento about it. And I know there's been some incidents which have heightened the discussion, and that's good. So we're in it, We want it done, but we have to make sure we're going about it in the right way and that we have the support through the process of Sacramento, of the utilities. And remember, when we're working with underground, it's not just Edison. We work with Edison, we work with IID, we have to work with any cable providers. There's a lot of people, a lot of entities involved in this issue.
So I received a leadership question for you both. It says, when you've got limited resources, how do you decide which projects to prioritize first?
I think one of those things, and first of all, if you have limited resources, the first project you better look at is how you unlimit those resources. And that, thus,
Right.
measure G. We have to be careful with it, but safety, of course, is going to be our first thought.
Right. No, I agree. It's if you have little, you got to grow more in somehow. And I think the measure G, as well as always building that economic base, is really key, so that you can avoid that. I think this is a really good example where the council needing to identify what's most important in terms of priorities and initiatives. Candidly, all of them are equally important. So as I look at it, is you have to keep on growing that revenue base, looking at grants and other opportunities to advance that expectation of the city. But if resources are ever limited, it's a good conversation to make sure that the council is identifying what areas are most important, and then you tackle the list thereafter. But safety is key. Economic development is also key.
Right. And a perfect example is look at your home finances. It's not enough just to cut.
Mm-hmm. You
You have to look, well, how can we build too? So there's got to be that balance that's involved. And, we recognize that we will be shy of resources. So we put Measure G in place. And as the other person, a previous question asked about, are we looking for new economy? How are we building the economy? We look at that all the time too. We recognize, and this is something that some people don't understand, a very small portion of the revenue that Palm Desert receives is from property tax.
Mm-hmm.
We are a post-Proposition 13 city, so we don't have a lot of property tax. So we must maintain a really strong economic base. And that has to be, we have to look at those drivers and make sure that we are business friendly and that we cause them to have the best environment they can be in to be successful, because then everyone's a success.
We're out of questions, but I was hoping I could get your wisdom on disaster preparedness, emergency preparedness. And I'm bringing this up because we just set a community event, Emergency Readiness Expo, for September 24th from 2 to 4 p.m. at the library. So just with that in mind, any thoughts on how to be prepared and what you should do at home?
Okay, so first of all, we have that on our website because people need to know that. September 24th from 2 to 4 at the library. Now, I'm a Southern California girl, so I know about earthquakes and I know about the importance of being prepared. And it used to be with earthquakes, they say, you got to have a day or two of water. They don't say that anymore. You better have 2 weeks of provisions, and that's a lot. So I know I have earthquake supplies at my house. I have, all the canned food, and you rotate it through and things like that. You have to be prepared. And I know the city does events like the one you mentioned, and also the CERT events. I don't know when the next one is going to be. And tell me what CERT stands for. In our world of acronyms, everyone in their own world has their own set of acronyms. Emergency response.
Community Emergency Response Team.
Yes.
Boom. Ding, 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 ding. He got it. So we have those classes too. And that teaches you everything from first aid, checking on your neighbor, those sorts of things. I wouldn't miss any chance you have to learn about emergency preparedness. Do it. Because we want to always be there. But in a
Right.
true emergency, everybody needs to help each other. This is where community comes into play.
Yeah, I echo on the personal preparedness effort. It starts there. What we learned during Tropical Storm Hillary a couple of years ago is the city is expanding its training opportunities, as well as we've been in the process of purchasing different equipment pieces, larger vehicles, skip loaders, street sweepers, because in an emergency, everybody's competing for those same resources. And part of our preparedness for the city is ensuring we have those the machinery and equipment available to directly respond to our needs. But it all starts with personal preparedness, because you never know the complexity of the event or when the event will be over, so that response can begin.
Right. And, we always think about earthquakes. Who would have ever thought of a tropical storm?
Right.
So we don't know what the emergency will be. We've been through COVID. We didn't see that one coming.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always important for you to take on personal responsibility. And we are always better when we take that on. We're each a piece of the community puzzle.
And I'll add one more little plug. If you go to our website, search for disaster preparedness, there's a page with great resources.
Oh, great.
And in there, there's a link to register for Nixle alerts. And that is a text message to your phone. It'll give you weather updates for extreme weather, or if there's issues in your local neighborhood, we can geofence it and notify you. So please consider signing up for that.
Okay. How much more time do we have?
We have 15 minutes.
Wow. So we have a lot to talk about.
But it's up to you.
Yeah. Well, the world is our oyster. What would we like to talk about? There's a couple things I'd like to brag about. I mean, does everybody know that Palm Desert has more trees than any other city in the Coachella Valley? And that's an important thing to think about, because it helps with the air quality, it creates shade, and it creates beauty. And it's one of those things we want to make sure that people, when they're building or when they're considering landscape, that they consider what kind of, what from the plant palette are they using? Are they native, or at least able to really thrive in our environment? So think about those sorts of things, because we are dealing with water issues. And on that, I think we have to talk about our surf lagoon. Because I get a lot of questions about the surf lagoon. Its name is Desert Surf, up at Desert Willow. So let's talk about that a little. I think it's something that we'll see a lot of people using. It's very popular, but of course the question always becomes, but what about all that water? So do you want to address that?
Certainly. So as a part of that project, for every amount of gallons used at the surf park, turf needed to be reduced there at Desert Willow to offset those impacts. So you have an example where you're really neutral in terms of the amount of the water impacts because of the extensive water conservation efforts. But additionally, the developer has agreed to regular monitoring and oversight in terms of its water use. So if they exceed their calculations, there will be mitigation fees for them to pay for going over their water use, so that there's accountability and those monies further go into conservation. The one thing too, what we heard is that they're running ahead of schedule. So whereas earlier they were looking to be done in summer, it could be that they'll be done much earlier next year. But it's an exciting facility that's going to show both that balance of new recreational opportunity. It'll help with the tourism and local industry, but that water conservation component is critical.
Right, and they were talking the other day. First of all, people will call it a wave park, and they're very clear. We're not a wave park. We are a surf lagoon. So that's our new phrase, and it is different than the wave pools that you've seen out there. This is on a whole other level. The other thing that they did that was interesting to me, and the water was really important. And they have said that at this point, they're actually, because of the water conservation and the turf mitigation efforts that they've made, they're actually going to use less water. We will see that as it plays out, and we will monitor it closely, because that's important to us. But they've also made efforts where they're going to help some of our local youth have that opportunity to learn to surf. And that was important to the city when we talked to them about this project. What are you going to do for our community? And they came up with some great ideas for some of our YMCA youth and other sorts of opportunities to make sure that our young people will have an opportunity to use this surf lagoon. Yes.
I have a question. In the Civic Academy,
Yes.
it often comes up, Desert Willow, the city owns a municipal course. Why would they have built it? What's the economic driver behind that?
So when it was built, our city manager at the time said this is to give every resident of Palm Desert a country club experience for a day. So it's a beautiful, here's a little gem. It's the only golf course that's ever been on the front of the Smithsonian Magazine. So it was built as an economic driver, and I'm glad you said that. And there are paths up there, and now we're seeing the result of the economic driver with the surf lagoon. And it was built to attract more economic drivers. As I said earlier, we need to generate revenue not through property tax because we can't. We get 6 cents about on every dollar of property tax. It's not enough to pay for all of the goods and services at a Palm Desert standard. So we needed those economic generators. So all those pads up there, which will put hotels, surf lagoon, other sorts of things, those generate revenue. And when we have a wonderful operator there, Kemper.
Correct.
And they do a great job. It was nice hearing yesterday I was at the marketing meeting and they talked about how well they have done in the last year. And they continue to do well. It's really in beautiful shape, the golf courses, and they continue to attract people, and that generates revenue. And when you have some men or women who say, let's have a golf trip, and they say, let's go to Palm Desert, well, we know they're going to stay in hotels, and they're going to go shopping, and they're going to dine in our restaurants. So that all generates revenue.
And when it comes to economic drivers, sometimes we also get questions about annexing Acrisure Arena and the Classic Club. Is there any new moves or thoughts that way?
I know there's talk about it. I don't know where we are.
So two things. There's talk about it in general, but really when the city looks at annexing, there's a process that needs to go through LAFCO, other jurisdictions. The main item is to make sure that the city is able to financially provide for that area without impacting its financial status. So anytime you're looking at annexation, what's the cost of infrastructure? What's the cost of residential if it goes in that area? And does it pencil out to not impact the city's solvency? So I would say there's no active effort looking at that area, but that's really the center of any annexation question, which is, does it pencil out?
Right. So, and when we talk about that too, it's public safety, it's fire, it's police, it's curbs, it's gutters, it's all of those things that we don't even think about. And so often, because it works so seamlessly, we almost take for granted. But all of those things must be maintained at a high quality because we do have a certain standard in Palm Desert that we like to maintain.
I received a text message from our director of finance that wanted to highlight that Desert Willow is self-sustaining and does not use any general fund dollars. So, point of reference.
I'm surprised she didn't ask about the amenity fee.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
That's
so
right.
Our finance director is absolutely correct. It operates in the black, extremely financially successful. But also what she's educated me on is each use there pays an amenity fee where those funds are used to reinvest back into Desert Willow so that there's no general fund contribution for those improvements.
There you go. And they do have a rainy day fund. They're always doing work too. Again, they have to maintain it. We can't rest on laurels. It is a continuous process. And thank you to our director of finance. She is always on it.
Yes.
Thank you. She has answered more questions for me than I can even begin to tell you. So she helps me be informed so that I can do my job better. I have all these great professors that are employed here. So thank you for teaching me. We have so much going on. Can we talk about some of the things that are happening on El Paseo, maybe? Some of the new, we almost have 100% occupancy, which I don't know if that's ever happened actually. And we're so close to it, and it is as strong financially in its in the leasing that it's ever been. And you see a lot of movement and a lot of construction going on. A lot of that is just one store moving to another location to make room for another store. So we have Restoration Hardware coming in, which is exciting. And before, Soma and Chico's was there, and they're moving to another spot. So there's a lot of moving pieces here, but it's exciting to see some of the new things coming in. And I keep hearing about a pie store, which thrills me. Love a good pie. And there's new cheese stores, there's new coffee shops, there's all sorts of new things on El Paseo. And I invite you to come down, walk around, and take a look. And you'll be excited, too, to see all the new offerings that we have there. I'll meet you at the pie store. And so I said they have little mini pies to go with my coffee. So next time we're going to have, yeah, I want those. Wow. I love, everyone here is like going, yes, we
mini
need those.
Pies, yes. And gelato.
Yeah, and we have gelato, we have a lot of, and those are unique offerings to Palm Desert, which is, to me, so very special. Perfect pint in the Airstream. At the Gardens, and we have a new Carolina Herrera at the Gardens, which is exciting. So we're seeing lots of good stuff. We're happy to see at the end of this project on El Paseo, and I always talk about this, and I'm not going to stop now. We're going to have 5 raised crosswalks on El Paseo. So they're coming. I know that it's a process to get them there, but we will have them. And the great thing about the raised crosswalks, and it's such an illustration of humanity for me, when we put the first couple ones in, all we heard were, and of course, people who are happy don't bother contacting us. People who are unhappy do. And we heard a lot of people, we don't like them, it's new, I have to slow down. Well, yeah, you do. And within about, I'm going to say 8 months, all we heard was, well, can we get more of those raised crosswalks on the other end of the street? And it's such an illustration of our resistance to change. And once we take a beat and we appreciate it, we see how it works. Mm-hmm. And now we'll have more, and it does slow people down, and it makes it a safer street. It makes it a more enjoyable street. And those raised crosswalks, I know that through some Sacramento magic, jaywalking is no longer illegal, but please use the raised crosswalks. Use the crosswalks at the corner. It's safer, it works well, and that's why we have them there. I want to mention one other thing that I hear and since I don't have the feedback from the audience, but I hear it at absolutely every coffee. It seems like people are running red lights, and maybe that's so, or more than they used to. And I almost feel that because of the influx from people that came here from COVID, and they came here from faster moving cities. They came here from Los Angeles. They came here from Orange County when everybody's always rushing. We have a slower pace here. So we're not used to that. And so that may be the factor. I don't know. The police our sheriffs have also said that they've noticed it. Don't rush through a fresh green. Look both ways. We have to do our part to be safe as well. So please do that. Know that the sheriff is out there protecting us. Say thank you to the sheriffs when you see them. They're doing a great job for us. Say thank you to all our people who are out there working day in, day out, because they make it the place it is that we live. And I always say that Palm Desert is not great just because we're living here. And we don't love it because it's great because we love it. So please do your part, be that community member who makes it better. And remember, the Civic Academy is coming up and we'd love to see you there. Any final thoughts?
No, thank you. This was fun. Appreciate the opportunity.
We'll do it again. We'll see you on September 23rd at 9 a.m. at the McCallum Theater. Come visit our theater.